Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico, known for his blunt rhetoric, has delivered a stark assessment of Ukraine's prospects in the ongoing conflict with Russia. Speaking to Radio Slovakia on Sunday, Fico asserted that Moscow holds a decisive military edge, predicting that Kyiv will face painful compromises in any future peace negotiations. Highlighting his views, Fico declared that Russia would retain control over the territories it currently occupies, including Donetsk, Lugansk, and Crimea. He emphasized that Ukraine would only secure limited guarantees, warning that the road to negotiations would be extremely challenging for Kyiv.
The future for Ukraine won't be pretty. Russia's military is unbeatable. When it comes to Ukraine as a whole, Russia will keep the territories it currently controls, thus Lugansk, Donetsk, and also Crimea. Some guarantees will be sought for Ukraine, but it will be extremely repetitive, extremely painful for Ukraine. But please, you see how it is. When I claim that the West wants war and supports life, it is to be vilified by all. But it is.
Fico also expressed skepticism about Ukraine's ability to improve its position on the battlefield or at the negotiation table, adding that Western strategies to prolong the war have only worsened the human toll.
When the Secretary General of NATO says, "Don't rock the dead," that's where you've been. When you say "don't die," it says, "Keep on killing yourselves every day." Let us read 1,500, 1,100 dead people. Ukraine will never be in a stronger position during the negotiations. Never.
The Slovak leader further criticized Western nations, accusing them of pursuing their own geopolitical objectives at Ukraine's expense. He alleged that recent US proposals to lower Ukraine's conscription age to 18 are part of a broader push to sustain Kyiv's military campaign.
And then when I say that the West wants war, everybody grabs their heads. What am I talking about? What's US President Biden's business in drafting 18-year-old boys to go to war? Do we know what we are talking about? Those who realistically observe the situation in Ukraine know that young people refuse to interfere. There are special units that catch young people in restaurants and recruit them into the army. This is no solution. The whole problem is that Russia is winning militarily, and Ukraine will never win this war militarily.
Fico's remarks stand in sharp contrast to NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte's recent call for ramping up military aid to Ukraine. Rutte emphasized that strengthening Ukraine's defenses is essential to improving its negotiating position and determining its next steps toward peace.
The front is not moving eastwards, it is slowly moving westwards. So we have to make sure that Ukraine gets into a position of strength, and then it should be the Ukrainian government to decide on the next steps in terms of opening peace talks and how to conduct them.
While NATO supports continued military assistance, Moscow remains firm on its preconditions for peace. These include Ukraine's neutrality and recognition of Russian control over annexed territories, demands Kyiv has steadfastly opposed. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov reiterated on Sunday that Russia remains open to dialogue, but blamed Kyiv for stalling peace talks by refusing to acknowledge the realities on the ground. US President-elect Donald Trump, meanwhile, has made an ambitious pledge to broker peace in Ukraine before his January inauguration. Following meetings with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and French President Emmanuel Macron, Trump described the war as a tragedy that should never have started. The Kremlin welcomed Trump's remarks, with Peskov noting that President Vladimir Putin has consistently supported peace initiatives, particularly those from the Global South.
We have carefully read the statement made by U.S. President-elect Donald Trump after his meeting with Emmanuel Macron and Zelensky in Paris. President Putin has repeatedly said that Russia is open to negotiations on Ukraine and welcomes peace initiatives, primarily from the countries of the global south.
Peskov emphasized that while Russia remains open to peace talks, progress hinges on a shift in Kyiv's stance. He criticized Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky for maintaining a hardline position, which he argued has stalled any meaningful dialogue.
Zelensky has issued a decree prohibiting himself and his administration from any contacts with the Russian leadership. This position has not changed. Meanwhile, in order to enter a peaceful trajectory, Zelensky only needs to cancel this decree and give instructions to resume dialogue based on the Istanbul agreements and taking into account the realities on the ground.
Both sides remain entrenched in their positions. Peskov stresses that peace talks depend on Ukraine lifting its ban on talks with Russia, while Zelensky emphasizes Ukraine's central role in any negotiations.
We are in the process of discussing various matters. We must work, have more and more meetings. Our teams will work as well. It is important. It is too early to talk about anything. Ukraine's position is clear. It is very important that partners know our stance from us and not from someone else. Without Ukraine, this just peace or any agreements are impossible. Our partners hear this. I am very glad that they understand it.
While Trump's proposed ceasefire offers a glimmer of hope, entrenched positions on both sides remain a significant obstacle to progress. As the human toll of the conflict continues to rise, the path to peace appears fraught with challenges, leaving the international community divided over the best course of action.